Minister, I do want to come back to the crux of this dispute at the moment as well. As the British are finding out, when you are in a club, it is that club's rules and it is their philosophy which holds sway as well. And as we're finding out with the Brexit negotiations. Your Prime Minister, and I believe the President as well, have called the EU's interference in domestic policies just that, interference which they have no right in getting involved in as well. But actually, when it comes to the club's rules over, dare I say it, LGBT rights, over women's autonomy, over the independence of the judiciary, the EU has every right to get involved in these issues, doesn't it?
Obviously not, because it has always been the rule that the independence of the judiciary and the structure of national judiciary is in itself a competence of member states. The EU is based on the principle of conferral, which means that any competence is not conferred upon the institutions of the EU always remain with the member states. And this has been the case for many, many years. We have judicial system much more politicized than the one in Poland. We have politicians electing judges in Germany, political commissions that can even dismiss judges that are there. We have very similar systems in France, in Ireland, in the UK as well. I believe there is much more political degree to appointment of judges. And suddenly, when Poland started introducing very similar reforms, actually they're very similar to the Spanish ones, we have been from the very first day attacked for it, and we have been declared to breach the European regulations. They're not strict regulations. They have been invented out of thin air just to punish Poland and before Hungary as well. This is pure politics. There's nothing to do with the rule of law itself.
Okay, that's your view, and you're totally entitled to. Can I ask you a personal question, sir? Do you agree with your president that the promotion of LGBT rights are an ideology that is worse and more destructive than communism?
Well, we definitely have a different approach, and it is our constitution that declares that marriage is a union between man and woman. This is explicitly written there, and unless it is changed by decision of our nation, we will not be either ready or able to make any changes to the legal framework in this respect. So aside from terminology that we use, I believe we should always keep in mind one thing. One should not impose its views on a nation that has a different approach, that has a different, more conservative tradition. We do not impose our views on anybody, and we just expect that nobody imposes their views on our legal system.
Personal rights and personal views are absolutely sacrosanct. But I just want to ask you if you could answer the question. Do you believe, sir, that LGBT rights are an ideology that is worse than communism and more destructive than communism? Just wonder whether you thought that was personally the case. I believe
that it can be shaped in a very different way. We are absolutely with full. I am sure that I agree with you that all human rights, doesn't matter on sexual orientation or sexual identity, should always be protected, and that is also the case in Poland. About the ideology, I do not want to get very much into that. I believe that any ideology can be dangerous if it is imposed upon people without the agreement, with infringement of the right to choose how they want to shape their country, their nation.